Assalamu alaikum, third grade. I hope you're doing well. Today, inshallah, we are going to have our grammar lesson in Unit 4, which is the simple past. It's on Pupil's book, page 52. But before we start, today is Wednesday, 17th of November, 2021. Bismillah, let's begin. So the past simple sentences. First, before we begin, we have to know what is the simple past tense. When do we use simple past? So we use simple past to talk about actions that happened in the past. The simple past tense shows that you are talking about something that has already happened. So we have got, teacher, many tenses. We have the past tense, we have the present tense, and we have the future tense. When we talk about simple past, we talk about the past tense, things and actions that happened in the past. So as we said, and as we talked about in Unit 2, we already talked about simple past. We said that for regular verbs, we add ed to the verb, or just d if the verb form already ends in an e. So if the verb ends in e, we only add d, and if the verb doesn't end in e, we add ed to the regular verbs. So for example, we have got walk, walked, we added ed, talk, talked, we added ed, jump, jumped, we added ed, watch, watched, we added ed, because these words, they don't end with e. Okay, so here we have got a picture. We have got many verbs that are regular verbs. So for example, look at here, smile, it ends with an E. So we only add D. We don't add another E, we only put one E. So smile, smiled, we added only D letter. So when the verb ends with a statement, when the verb ends in a consonant, what's the meaning of consonants? Consonants are all the letters except the vowels. The vowels, we have got A, O, U, E, I. The consonants are the other letters. So if the verb ends in a consonant plus Y, we change the Y into I and add ED. Only if the verb ends in consonant plus Y. For example, study. Here we have a consonant. It's not a vowel, it's a consonant. Plus Y, when we add ED, we change the Y into I and we add ED. When a verb ends in a vowel plus Y, we add ED. And we leave the Y as it is. We don't change the Y into I. If the verb ends in a vowel, then Y. For example, play. A is a vowel, so we leave the Y as it is. We don't change it, or we don't change the Y into I, so it becomes played. Look at here. Here we have got verbs that end in Y. We remove the Y and add IED. Look at these words. They all end in Y, and they all end in consonants plus Y. R, D, R, P, they are all consonants. So we change the Y into I and we add ED. The statement form, this form we have got subject plus verb ED. Subject, we have got many subjects. For example, we have got she, he, it, they, we, you, I, the school, Yasmin, any names, children, and we have got many more. We have got a lot of subjects plus verb ED. We have got example here. The pioneers cooked food in big pots. We added ED to the verb because it is in the past tense. The boys played skittles. We added ED. We didn't change the Y into I because here we have got a vowel. Mom carried many boxes. Carry, it ended with Y, but we changed the Y into I because here we have a consonant plus Y. So it was removed, the Y, and we changed it into IED. So mom carried many boxes. As for the question form, we said that we start the question with did, plus subject, plus verb 1. Any subject takes did, okay? So did kicks out the ed from the verb. Okay, we can never have did with ed in the same sentence. If did is in the sentence, did kicks the ed out. So for example, here we have a sentence, it's a statement. The pioneers cooked food in big pots. When we want to make them a question, at first we add did. So did, then the subject. Here the subject is the pioneers. Did the pioneers cooked? We removed the ed because did is here. So did the pioneers cook food in big pots? What did you do today? I washed my hands. This is an example for a question form. Okay, how to make the simple past negative? How to make it negative? The proper form is subject plus did plus not plus verb 1. So here the subject, the children. Then we add didn't have many toys in the past. Also here we have got another sentence, Rama didn't like her new shoes. So we add not to the sentence, we add not to the word did. We can either say did not or didn't. It's up to you, they are the same thing. And we add the verb as it is, infinitive, because we have got did. And as we said, if we have did in the sentence, we remove the ed. Here you can now open your pupils book, page 52. As you can see here, look, we have a question on top of the verb, on top of the page, sorry. What do you remember about pioneers in America? We said that pioneers, they needed houses and fields. They used big, the women in the past, they used big pots to cook food. The children played skittles, they played skipping, they had a cup and a ball game, and many things. We have learned a lot about pioneers in America. Now look, did the pioneers travel in cars? No, they didn't. In the past, they didn't have cars. They traveled in horses, okay? And did the women cook over fires? Yes, they did, as you can see here in this picture. As for the next question, ask and answer. Here, question number 1, we have got men, and these are trees. And we want to make a question. We said that we start with did. So we have to say, did the men chop down the trees? We leave chop down, chop the verb. We leave it as it is. We don't add ed because we have got did. So the first question, did the men chop down the trees? And yes, they did. Number 2, did the men use axes? Yes, they did. They used axes to chop down the trees. Number 3, did the children play computer games? Of course not. No, they didn't. In the past, they didn't have computers. Okay. Number 4, did the children play a cup and ball game? Yes, they did. Number 5, did the women cook food in big pots? Yes, they did. And number 6, did the pioneers need motorbikes or bikes? No, they didn't, because they didn't have bikes in the past. Okay. Here are the answers. You can write them down on your notebooks. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. They are the questions with their answers.